Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadahani Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Amajnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chagasoran Militam Yanam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Gadamaham Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeyam Sri Guru Sri Yatapada Kamalam Sri Guram Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadotam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Scha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaiti Jaiti Namananda Rupam Murare Viramita Nija Dharma Dhyana Pujadiyatam Kartamapi Sakridam Paramamritam Ekanam Jivanam Bhushanam Me Jaiti Jaiti Namananda Rupam Murare Viramita Nija Dharma Dhyana Pujadiyatam Kartamapi Sakridatam Muktinam Pranam Yat Paramamritam Ekanam Jivanam Bhushanam Me. Hare Krishna. So, a reading from Jaiva Dharma, 3rd chapter. Namitika Dharma to be relinquished. So, in the 1st chapter, Premdas Babaji speaking to Sannyasi Thakur about Nitya Dharma and Nanitiga Dharma. In the 2nd chapter, Premdas Babaji is explaining to Vaishnav Thakur, Sannyasi Thakur, about Nitya Dharma and the Jiva. So the Jiva also, the Nitya Dharma of the Jiva is pure and eternal. So on the 3rd chapter is explaining that Namitika Dharma has to be given up, has to be relinquished. So, in the meantime, Sannyasi Thakur, he was blessed by Premdas Babaji, who accepted him as disciple and gave him the name Vaishnav Das. So, and this discussion here, Babaji Maharaj explains about the devotees, they are becoming free from this material existence, and especially, of course, referring to the Vaishnavas in our line, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, by adopting the process given by Mahaprabhu, and especially even, of course, Rupa Goswami, following the eternal associates of Krishna and Braj, specifically the gopis, who are known as Ragatmik Jan, who have deep love and attachment for Krishna. And following them, that is known as Raganuga Bhakti. And by doing that, so the sadhaka is becoming slowly but surely free from this material existence. And then he's explaining also that Raganuga Bhakti is awakened in the heart of the jivas, generally by the mercy of the sadhus. The Raganuga Bhakti, the Bhavuk or Rasik Vaishnav. And he's explaining that it is actually rarely achieved. So then he's explaining also further that the jivas, of course, not able to immediately come to this platform and have the association of the exalted devotees and be eligible to perform Raganuga Bhakti. Therefore, there's a need to follow Vaidhi Bhakti. So therefore, for the general mass of people, Vidhi Marg has been given, Vaidhi Bhakti has been given. And therefore, even the advanced devotees, they are generally following Vaidhi Bhakti just to set the example. And those who are becoming more advanced, by performing Vaidhi Bhakti and then entering Raganuga Bhakti, just for their own sake, ultimately also, they still continue with Vaidhi Bhakti. So he's explaining here, the Shastras were manifested from this merciful consideration of Sri Bhagavan. Issuing forth by his mercy, the sun of the Shastra arose in the sky, of the hearts of the ancient Aryan rishis, and illuminated all the injunctions and rules to be followed by the populace. So, by the mercy of the Lord, the Vedic literatures are actually revealed. We know that the Vedas are not different from the Lord. And it is explained that the Vedas, of course, different places, different explanations are given, but one that they emanated from the breathing of the Lord, from Narayan, or of course also Varahavatar, it is explained. From him, the Vedic literatures emanated. So they are ever existing, and they are not different from the Lord. And by the will of the Lord, sometimes they manifest and sometimes not. And then also is explained here, that the Shastra arise in the hearts of the rishis, the great souls, and then they will give these instructions or injunctions and the rules to be followed to the general mass of people. In the beginning was the Veda Shastras. One part of the Veda Shastra teaches pious activities directed towards the attainment of material fruits, karma. One part teaches knowledge directed towards liberation, jnana. Another part teaches devotion with love and affection for Bhagavan, bhakti. The jivas who are infatuated with Maya are found in many different conditions. Some are completely stupefied, some have a little knowledge, and some are knowledgeable in many subjects. The Shastras provide different types of instructions that are consistent with the different mentalities of the jivas. This differentiation is known as adhikar, eligibility. So, important point here, that the Shastras, and that we can clearly understand also, that the Shastras are there actually for all the jivas. And so different jivas, they are on different levels of spiritual understanding. They have different mentalities, different natures. So in order to address and in order to help the different jivas, then different instructions are given. As explained here, for those who have still so many material desires, then in regards to that, there are some instructions, some injunctions are there. For those who are interested in acquiring knowledge for liberation, then some instructions and guidelines are there. And then for those who are already more devotional and understanding of Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, for them, again, other instructions, injunctions, and rules and regulations are given. There are countless individual jivas, and they have innumerable varieties of adhikars, which have been divided into three broad categories according to their primary characteristics. So he's repeating here again. Karmadhikar, eligibility for pious action leading to material gain. Jnanadhikar, eligibility for knowledge leading to liberation. And Premadhikar, eligibility for unalloyed loving service to Bhagavan. Dvaita Shastra specifies these three types of eligibility and establishes proper conduct or behavior for those in each of the three groups. The Dharma that the Vedas thus prescribed is known as Vaidya Dharma. So the Vedic literatures mostly are in this regard. Vaidya Dharma, following rules and regulations so that the conditioned souls may advance in their path according to their eligibility. The tendency by which a person is compelled to adopt this Vaidya Dharma is known as Vaidya Pravriti, the proclivity to follow the religious codes of Shastra. Those who are altogether lacking in the tendency to follow the rules of Shastra are thoroughly avaidha, opposed to the injunctions of the Shastra. And so that we can see in this material world. Some persons are pious, and as described here, they're divided in 3 categories, and then others, they are not at all pious, and actually they are sinful, and they are having many times avaida or opposed to the injunctions of the Shastra. The mentality is sometimes then demoniac. They are engaged in sinful activities and their lives are given over to Avaida karma, actions that defy the regulations of the Shastra. And practically you can see all over the world. So, even the majority of the people, they are not interested in following the scriptures, or they don't even have knowledge about the scriptures. Of course, in Bharatvarsha, the culture is there. So many are abiding by the injunctions of the scriptures. They are having faith in the Vedic literatures, in the Vedic culture, or Vaishnava literatures and Vaishnava culture. And they are known as Aryans. And other parts of the world, of course, they may have some regards for God, or following then the scriptures of that part of the world, different parts of the world, like the Bible or the Quran, or even some others may be there, like in South America, the Incas, or others may be there also. We have some understanding or faith in the existence of the Supreme Being of God, and they may have some understanding, and they may have their codes of conduct also. And you may see that, for example, America, or they have some understanding that God is existing, and therefore even on the dollar note they have printed, "In God we trust." But in reality, how much they are trusting in God, how much they are depending on God, or how much understanding they have of God, and how much they are following. So very insignificant. But then you can see then, especially in the Western countries, or so to say, countries outside of Bharatvarsha, India, or outside of those who are accepting the Vedic literatures. So their understanding is not too exalted. Of course, those who are following the Bible, the Catholics or the Christians, even they many times they are not very sincerely or unfortunately not able to understand even the first principle that we should not indulge in eating meat. We can see that the majority of the Christians, so much so that most of the priests, they are eating meat, so which is actually sinful. So therefore their endeavors are not so fruitful in regards to making advancement in spiritual life. So, and therefore that has been described as, at the most, of course, Naimitika Dharma. But if somebody is eating meat, then what kind of Dharma they are following? But still, even as Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very positive, encouraging in his presentation, and that we will see further on also. But then he's speaking the truth, and those who are fortunate who are able to read this book or hear about this book, then they will have the proper understanding. So, but apart from those, let's say the Christians who may not be completely following Dharma because they are eating meat, but at least they understand that God is existing and they're trying to some extent to advance in spiritual life, to have some relationship with God, some exchange with God. So then all the others, they actually are known as non-Aryans, and they are engaged in sinful activities, some more and some less. Even nowadays you can see there are many persons who are vegetarians. And so now there's an interest in yoga also, even in the West. So in this way they may be considered as more fortunate. But then almost still the majority of the people, they are engaged in Ayvaida karma, in sinful activities. And you can see people eating meat, they're drinking, they're smoking. And in regards to having a relationship with the opposite sex, also many rules, and many are not even getting married nowadays, but they live together for some time and then they may separate. So in this way, so we can see that the majority of the populace nowadays, they are not following the injunctions of the scriptures. So that is then Ayvaida karma. They are working, but mostly for sense practically almost always for sense gratification, for their own or for the immediate family members. So that is part of the sense gratification. The duties of those in the three eligibility groups outlined in the Vedas have been described still more elaborately in the Samhita Shastras of the Rishis, who composed numerous Shastras that follow the tenets of the Vedas. The duties of those eligible for karma are described in 20 Dharma Shastras compiled by Manu and other Pandits. Those conversant with the different philosophical systems described the function of those eligible for Jnana in a Shastra dealing with logic and philosophy. And finally, the instructions and activities for people eligible for bhakti have been determined by those who are learned in the Puranas and pure Tantras. All these literatures are known as Vedic because they are in keeping with the Vedas. So like Manu, father of mankind, he is given to compile some Shastras, Manu Sanghita. And then those eligible for Jnana, so they have as the 6 great philosophers like Jaimini or Gautam, Kanada, Patanjali. So they have given this knowledge in regards to logic and philosophy. And that is accepted by the intelligent class of people, especially in Bharadvarsha. And then we have Jaimini or Kapil Dev and Vyasadeva also, Sankhya philosophy and Vyasadeva giving actually a knowledge in regards to advancing in spiritual life and with bhakti. So these are all called or known as Vedic because they are basically also trying to elevate or help the conditioned souls in keeping with the Vedic literatures. And then as we know, first one Veda was there and then that was divided in 4 by Vyasadeva. And then the different Puranas are there, 18 Puranas. And that is for different embodied beings, jivas, who have different eligibility. Again, there also. For those in the mode of goodness, the Sattvic Puranas are there. For those in the mode of passion, so 6 Puranas are there. Sometimes main addresses Rajasic, although we should understand that these Puranas are practically transcendental, but they give guidelines for those who are Sattvic, guidelines for those who are Rajasic, and guidelines for those who are Tamasic. So they may advance in their spiritual life. Modern day pseudo philosophers of these Shastras without a view to the underlying purport of all the Shastras have tried to establish the superiority of only one of its limbs. This has cast innumerable people into a pit of argument and doubt. So that we can see practically also. So nowadays, some philosophers or persons who have some understanding of the scriptures, they will just speak from one of the limbs of these different kinds of philosophical or spiritual Vedic conceptions. And therefore the people, they are also bewildered. So one has to be under proper guidance by those who are learned in all the Shastras, who have an overview of all the Shastras. And then we'll be able to understand properly, and then we will be able to advance. So like the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, so they are Vedantavid, Shastravid, Siddhantavid, and Rasatattvavid. They have some understanding of the Vedic literatures, of Vedanta, the essence of the Vedic literatures. And then, especially in our Sampradaya, so they are aware of the literatures of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, his followers, especially the 6 Goswamis. And they know what is then the conclusion or the essence of these literatures. Siddhanta. So they are known as Saragrahi Vaishnav. So they have accepted the essence of the Vedic literatures. And then Rasa Shastravit. Then it can help the devotees to advance in Braj Bhakti and give them the proper understanding and help them according to their eligibility also to advance. You can see even in the Vaishnav tradition or Vaishnav community, not everyone is on the same level of understanding. And so therefore, even in the Vaishnav literatures, so different literatures are there for different persons of different eligibility. Bhagavad Gita, which is a matchless deliberation on all these Shastras, clearly establishes that karma not aiming at jnana is atheistic and should be rejected. So in the Bhagavad Gita, so karma yoga is explained, jnana yoga is explained, and bhakti yoga is explained. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita is also considered to be the cream of all the Vedic literatures. And there's of course the Srimad Bhagavatam also. The Srimad Bhagavatam is more elaborate than the Bhagavad Gita. Karma yoga and jnana yoga that are not directed towards bhakti are also cheating processes in reality. Karma yoga, jnana yoga and bhakti yoga form a single yoga system. This is the Vedic Vaishnav Siddhanta conclusion. So karma yoga and jnana yoga, if it is not directed towards the Supreme Lord, so here he's mentioning it is a kind of cheating process. Because ultimately yoga means to connect with the Lord. So by following karma, some activities, but keeping Krishna in the center. And there are still some desires there to enjoy in this world, which it's difficult to give up. So therefore karma yoga is there. So they become purified by their activities, by keeping Krishna in the center, and then they may still fulfill their material desires, and they will become slowly but surely purified. And in Jnana Yoga also, so that is also required to acquire knowledge. But Krishna should be in the center, and one should try to find out how to better serve Krishna, how to advance in spiritual life. So therefore here is writing that these three, karma, jnana and bhakti yoga, form a single yoga system. So that means one is connected to the Supreme Lord. That is yoga. And the highest form of yoga, that is bhakti, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, yogin nama abhisarve sammadgantiradpa sarva bhajyativan sami yukta tamo mataha. So, the jiva who is bewildered by Maya is first compelled to adopt the path of karma. Then he must adopt karma yoga, followed by jnana yoga, and finally bhakti yoga. However, if it's not shown that all these are but different steps on the one staircase, the conditioned jiva cannot ascend to the temple of bhakti.
No?
So basically we have to be under guidance of a teacher who is a representative of the Lord, the spiritual master or an advanced devotee. And then one may advance and come to the realm of bhakti. What does it mean to adopt the path of karma? Karma consists of the activities that one performs with the body or mind in the course of maintaining one's life. There are two types of karma: auspicious, shubha, and inauspicious, ashubha. So activities in this world, so they may be auspicious or inauspicious. And if Krishna is in the center, then it becomes karma yoga. But if Krishna is not in the center, then the activities may be auspicious. Usually, so that is for those who are somewhat in the mode of goodness, then the activities are auspicious. If they are in the mode of passion and ignorance, then their activities are inauspicious. But you may see, of course, that in the course of one's performance of activities, it may be mixed. Some activities are auspicious and some are not auspicious. So for example, one person is working in this world. He may be working in a bank, just for giving an example. So in this way he which is of course, it may be different banks according to private bank or government bank. So this activity so usually is auspicious in the sense that they will get some income from that, and in this way they can maintain their family, maintain themselves, and it is not harming others. At the same time, that same person, he may then drink and he may smoke and he may eat meat, so which is completely inauspicious. The results that the jiva obtains by performing Shubha karma are auspicious, whereas those who he obtains from Ashubha karma are inauspicious. So that is clear. Ashubha karma is also known as sin, pap. So like drinking, smoking, eating meat, that is ashubha, that is sinful, pap. Or prohibited acts, vikarma. So there's karma which is auspicious and karma which is inauspicious. So inauspiciousness, it is known as vikarma. And the non-performance of Shubha karma is known as akarma. Both vikarma and akarma are bad, whereas Shubha karma is good. So here some slight differences there, akarma. So vikarma is sinful, so on. If one is not engaged in Shubha karma, but it is not sinful, then it is akarma. So some activities may be there, so which is not so beneficial, but at the same time it is not sinful. There are three types of Shubha karma: obligatory daily rites, nitya karma, so which we should do every day. Like for example, prahata snan, so taking a bath in the morning. So that is actually auspicious. And ultimately it is purifying also. If one is taking bath, the body becomes cleansed, and even that is cleansing the consciousness also. And then one will put on fresh clothes. So that is auspicious. That is Shubh. And then circumstance, and of course, then one may, for example, do something for others also, distribute some clothes, or distribute food to the people, so on, or feeding the cows. So that is auspicious. And that may be done daily. Some people are doing that daily. Or offering water to the sun. Some will do that daily. And then circumstantial duties, naimitika karma. And ceremony is performed out of a desire for personal benefit. Kamya karma. So naimitika karma is there. Like so, some duties which have to be performed sometimes. Of course, then we have, for example, also the different samskars which should be performed. And if the Lord is there in the center, then it becomes actually dharma, naimitika dharma. And similarly, the daily activities, if Krishna is the center, then it becomes nitya dharma. And of course, That is also explained here more elaborately in these present chapters. And Karmya Kanda is completely self-interested and should be rejected. Kamya karma, for sense gratification. The Shastras direct us to adopt Nitya karma and Naimitika karma. The Shastra has considered what is fit to be taken up and what is fit to be abandoned, and they have classified Nitya karma, Naimitika karma, and Kamya karma as karma. So whereas akarma and kukarma, impious activities, have not been included in this category. Although Kamya karma is counted as karma, it is undesirable and should be given up. So only Nitya karma and Naimitika karma are truly accepted as karma. So activities for direct sense gratification, immediate sense gratification, so that is undesirable. Nitya karma is karma that produces, sometimes we say, of course, also as devotees, that we see the persons acting in this world and we call them karmis. So because they are engaged in some activities for sense gratification. Of course, to maintain themselves, and then also, of course, they want usually some benefit, and then they want to engage in sense gratification. So, but there are many of course, so that is a positive attitude of a devotee. But many, they are actually very sinful. So then they are not really karmis, but they are doing vikarma. So they are more vikarmis. But the devotee is positive, and so therefore is addressing those who are not engaged in devotional activities or following Dharma, they call them karmis. Nitya karma is karma that produces auspiciousness for the body, mind, and society, and which results in promotion to other planets after death. So in this sense here, that then refers to those who follow them actually the Vedic literatures. And so they may want elevation to higher planets. And so they may follow Varnashram also. But without Krishna in the center, or God in the center, but they may then worship the demigods. And they hope to be promoted to the planet of the demigods. But even that is not so easily attained, and not so many are eligible to go to the higher planets, especially nowadays. As those who are doing Gyan or the Mayavadis, not many of them, they are really absorbed in spiritual activities, and then only very few, they will actually be promoted to the impersonal Brahman. Or they may go to the Brahmajyoti, which is ultimately futile. Everyone is obligated to perform Nitya karma. Such as chanting the Brahma Gayatri mantra at the 3 junctures of the day. Sandhya Vandana, offering prayers, using honest means to maintain one's body and society, behaving truthfully and caring for one's family members and dependents. Of course, so that is already more elevated. A possession of those who are performing nitya karma, especially in regards to chanting the Brahma Gayatri, which is usually, traditionally only given to the Brahmanas, or those who are very much Brahmanically inclined. So it was also given to the Kshatriyas and Vaishnavas, but only the Vaishyas who are spiritually inclined. So, but nowadays you can hardly, you can not see so often. Even nowadays you can still see that they do the Upanayana samskars for the children. So the samskar is done. They give a Brahman thread, and then they may recite one time the Brahma Gayatri, but then they will not do on daily basis. Nowadays you can see still it is performed in this way. But actually receiving Upanayana, then which are given to those from Brahmani families when they are between 8 and 12, or sometimes up to 15, and those from Kshatriya family at the age of 15 or up to 20, and the Vaishyas usually before they get married. So when they are 20 or between 20 and 30, before they get married. But nowadays they hardly chant the Gayatri mantras. They are not told to chant the Gayatri mantras. So only few nowadays, they will do it properly. Naimittika karma is karma that one must carry out under certain circumstances or on certain occasions. For example, performing rites for the departed soul of one's mother and father, atoning for sins, and so on. Or even a child is born and then is namkaran samskar, and so that is naimittika karma, and that we can see practically also. They will do that, but they're not really interested in spiritual activities, in devotional activities. So there's not much benefit from that. But it is tradition, and so they're following, but there's not much benefit. And they give a name to the child, and if there are no devotional, they don't give a name of like a name of the Lord. But in Vedic tradition, Vaishnava tradition, especially then the name of the Lord, and then Das is added, servant of Narayan, servant of Krishna, Krishna Das, Narayan Das, and so on. Or for the girls, then Radharani Dasi, and so on. Servant of Srimati Radharani, or Sita Dasi, and Lakshmi. Of course, then when they call the child, and they call him just by name, and they don't say Das, but it is understood that we are servants of Krishna, Narayan, or Radhika, Lakshmi Devi. The authors of the Shastras first examine the natures of human beings and their natural eligibility traits, and then establish Varnashram Dharma, the duties for the social castes and spiritual orders. So ultimately, of course, Varnashram is coming or established by the Supreme Lord. Chaturvayan Mahashishtam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. But then through the great rishis, then it comes into existence also. They have described Varnashram, the different duties of Varnashram. And even so, for those following Vedic literatures, so the different duties are explained. And even then for the Vaishnavas, then duties of Varnashram are explained, with the Lord in the center, with Krishna in the center. Like Sanatana Goswami, he wrote Hari Bhakti Vilas, and then explaining there also about Varnashram and the different duties for the different Varnas and different ashrams. Their intention was to prescribe a system in which Nitya Karma and Namitika Karma could be carried out in an excellent way in this world. The gist of this arrangement is that there are 4 natural types of human beings, classified according to the work that they are eligible to perform. Brahmanas, teachers and priests; Kshatriyas, administrators and warriors; Vaishyas, agriculturists and businessmen; and Shudras, artisans and laborers. People are also situated in 4 orders or stages of life, which are known as ashram. Brahmachari, unmarried, student life; Grihastha, family life; Vanaprastha, retirement from family responsibilities; and sannyas, the renounced ascetic life. Those who are fond of akarma and vikarma are known as antyaja, outcast, and are not situated in any ashram. So those sinful people, they are known as antyaja, outcast. And because if you follow one ashram, then one is not engaging in sinful activities, because it is mentioned there in the scriptures in regards to one ashram, that for example we should not eat meat, and we should not engage in illicit sex, and so on. The different varnas are determined by nature, birth, activities and characteristics. So here he's writing first nature. It is determined by the nature, not by birth, first of all. But if one is born in a Brahmana family, there's more chances that one will be Brahmanically inclined, that the nature may be Brahminical, and then the activities may be Brahminical, and the characteristics. And previously it was actually seen that those born in a Brahmana family, so then they were engaged in Brahminical activities when they were growing up. And those from Kshatriya families, then the children, the sons, they were then trained in that way. Like for example, to be landlord or of course the king is there. Or nowadays, so one may be a general manager in a company, CEO in a company. So then the son, so he may be then similarly having this nature, but previously it was more. um, likely that the child will have the similar nature. Nowadays, because of the environment and because many times then the mixed nature is there. So therefore the children also, they may not be automatically inclined to do the same as the parents. When Varna is determined only on the basis of birth, the original purpose of Varna ashram is lost. Ashram is determined by the various stages of life. Depending on whether one is married or unmarried or has renounced the association of the opposite sex. Married life is known as Grihastha ashram and unmarried life is known as the Brahmachari ashram. Disassociation from spouse and family is characteristic of the Vanaprastha and Sannyas ashram. Sannyas is the highest of all the ashramas and the Brahmanas are the highest of all the Varnas. So, in Varna ashrams, so Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya and Brahmana. So Brahmana is considered the highest. And then the Kshatriya, and then the Vaishya, and then the Shudra. And so that we can understand easily also. The Brahmanas, they are knowledgeable. They give guidance. So they're engaging deity worship and performing sacrifices. They are teachers. So they are the head of the society. Under the Kshatriyas, so they are managing, and so they may be warriors. So they are actually just like the king. He's taking care of the kingdom and he's working under the guidance of the Brahmanas. And he's powerful, he's strong, physically strong and also usually is mentally strong and is able to see that there's law and order in the kingdom or in the state. So that is required. And there actually should be mutual respect and actually helping each other. Just like in the body. So therefore the universal body is there of the Lord. Brahmana Samaka said, Bahura Janya Krita Urutadasya Dadvaishahad Padbhagam Shudra Jayataha. So the Brahmanas are considered the head of the universal form. And the Kshatriyas the arms. And the Vaishyas the belly. And the Shudras the leg. So the head is there, which is guiding the whole body, leading the whole body. And the arms are there to protect oneself, to protect the body. And the belly is also there to, of course, we eat and then we can digest the food. And the legs are there so we can go here and there. And all of them are required so that the body can function normally. If the stomach is not well, then one gets diarrhea, the food is not digested, and then the brain is not functioning properly, the head. So it will be difficult to focus, and then the body becomes weak, and then we can protect ourselves, and we cannot move here and there except going to the toilet. So, and then the ashrams, or the Varna is there, and then the ashram, brahmachari, student life, and then grihastha, household life, and then vanaprastha, So giving up household life and dedicating oneself more to spiritual activities. And sannyas means those who are highly advanced and knowledgeable, they may enter sannyas ashram and then they may guide the others, the other members of the 3 other ashrams, and they may guide also the different members of the varnas. So the sannyasi is also superior than the brahmanas, mostly. This conclusion is established in the crest jewel of all the Shastras, Srimad Bhagavatam. So that will be explained. So, 6 verses. 7 verses that we'll explain next time. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.